Daniel Maisie. I joined Nsppd in June 2020. And one good thing is that, like Pastor said in one of the, after the testimonies on Nsppd, he said, you will fly in for your testimony. I flew in for this testimony from Dublin, Ireland. I've lived overseas for approximately 10 years. And when you're in the diaspora, you just say, man, everything is prim, proper, no prayers, you know, but that thing has changed. I used to live in Leeds, UK, then I relocated to Dublin, Ireland. I did the master's, flying colors, passed, was looking for a job, the pandemic hit, then changed career. I was trying to get a job, I was applying, and I got a job with one of the big 4 consulting firms in the world, and that was in November 2021. I have a pattern, rising and falling, affliction, career, everything will be going, then you get to a level, it will crash, down, ground zero. So now, I got the job, everything was going well, I lost the job, November 2022, last year. And because my job is tied to my sponsorship, I have, the job I got is tied to my sponsorship permit, so it was an employment permit, critical skills. And if you lose your job, it takes you, within 6 months, if you don't get that job, then you have to go back to Nigeria. So I started applying. I went to more than 50 interviews, nothing. So Easter, my dad was his age. I said, okay, I'm going to come. But before I come, I don't fly into Abuja, I fly into Lagos. But I flew into Lagos. And before I went to Delta, I flew into Abuja for Streams of Joy Easter. I didn't see Pastor. I think it was before the Sunday before Easter. I said, okay, I was seated over there. I prayed like a madman. I prayed. And while I was en route back to Delta, I left Delta back to Lagos, they called me for an interview. I can't remember applying for that job. So I did 3 stages of that interview in Nigeria. Then the last interview, I had to tell them that I'm in Nigeria. I want to go back to Dublin to do that interview. So I did it. When I looked at the guy that was going to interview, my current boss, that guy is the top 10 keynote speaker in AI. I can't tell myself, so what I want to tell this guy now? I don't know what I could tell this guy. So I backed out. I talked to my cousin. I said, I can't go for this interview. He said, no, you know what? You've gone to Nigeria. You've gone to this altar of fire. And I've been here since June 2020. So I prayed and I went for the interview. The interview, now gist with you the gist. Hey, what's up? Well. No technical thing. I looked the guy like this. I said, okay. He said, right there and there, he gave me the offer. I said, okay. Almost 6 digits. Let me say that. Almost 6 digits. And we are getting on the 6 digits. So he now said to me that he will get back to me. So remember I said that my job is tied to employment. Or my employment is tied to my status. So my employer has a big 4 consulting firm that does their immigration. So they came to me and said, okay, they're going to do the immigration for the employment permit. And I said, first and foremost, because of all the dynamics, long story short, that they are going to do a temporary residency. They said 4 to 6 weeks. Then after that temporary residency, they will now do the employment permit, another 4 to 6 weeks. So lower level, 8 weeks, higher level, 12 weeks. Pastor Jerry now came to London. I didn't have money. I flew. I came to London. I played like a madman. I prayed and I said, God, you answer me. Then when I was making the application for the temporary residency, I made a mistake. Then Pastor Jerry gave a word of knowledge on Nsppd.
I don't know who needs to hear this. Don't say at the Lord, my mercy is bigger than your mistakes. My mercy is covering your mistakes. My mercy is covering your mistakes.
Meanwhile, they said 4 to 6 weeks. After I came back from the prayer conference in London, I got that permit in 5 days.
5 days.
The letter was signed on a Saturday. They know they work for Saturday for Dublin. Public service on a Saturday, 5 days. After that, they now came in for the employment permit, right? Because I've gotten the temporary residency now. The employment permit, they said to me, 4 to 5 weeks. I got it in 5 days. I am overwhelmed. Thank you very much, Pastor. You have heard this. I know you have heard this 1,000 times, but the oil in your head never ever run dry. We they pray, they show what God cannot do.